off that exhausting hamster wheel and into balanced living with Dr. Marissa.
Promise you joy in the mystery.
Dr. Marissa, also known as the Asian Oprah. Her mission, to be a beneficial presence on the planet. Her purpose, to be your personal advocate to live, laugh, love, learn. Her life motto, don't die wondering. Take back your life with Dr. Marissa Pay.
And welcome. You're tuned in to Take My Advice. I'm not. Whoops. I have this on here. And welcome. You're tuned in to Take. Good morning. You're tuned in to Take My Advice. I'm not using it. Get balanced with Dr. Marissa, the morning show here on NBC News, CNBC News, and NBC Sports Radio Station KCAA. Home to the Asian Oprah, AM 1050, FM 106.5, and streaming everywhere. iHeartRadio, Spotify, Stitcher, iTunes, TuneIn, Audible, Amazon Music, Rumble, Tiki Live, JioSaavn, Podchaser, and about 28 more that I can't remember because I haven't had enough coffee. Now, why so many places? Because I want to splatter you with more hope and happiness, want to maximize that activity because I'm on a happy 88 mission. 88 million more happy people in the next 8 years. So I have topics and guests and series to that. And if you missed my fabulous interview with Layla Ali, the beautiful world boxing champion, undefeated Layla Ali, daughter of Muhammad Ali, you can get that on my YouTube channel, as well as my interview with Mark from Mark and Brian, KLOS Radio Hall of Famer. That was earlier this week. And today, as you can see, the cuteness on the camera is none other than my co-host once a week on Thursdays. His name is Sam Works, and it is time for Straight Talk with Dr. Marissa and
Sam Works.
Welcome back to the studio. I like your, what is that? Is that a sweatshirt? I thought it was a sweater at first. It looks good. It looks good. And I see eyeballs rolling in. Thank you for coming and chatting with us. You can come or not, but I am glad that you chose to. And we got hearts already. Man, we haven't even really done anything and we're getting hearts already. Love it, love it, love it. Facebook, LinkedIn, YouTube is Dr. Marissa Central. So free subscribe there. That way you can watch and listen. But if you're in your car, AM 1050, FM 106.5, please do not try to chat and drive at the same time. We are ready today. We've got a hot topic. I chose it for a change because Sam was at a Christmas party. So I'm like, okay, you're going to leave this up to me. We're talking about older women, younger men, and older men and younger women. Even though I'm ageless, I guess I could fall into both of those categories, but we will talk about that after we have breakfast. You know the drill. I like to start almost every show with a gratitude sandwich, taking a bite of it. 4 things for me and 4 things for Sam, or less. If you are eyeballing us right now, go to the chat, put down your gratitudes. That's the top of the button, followed by 8 things that we love about ourselves, appreciation, because I believe that self-approval is the foundation to self-love. So that's why we do that. Are you ready, Sam? What are you grateful for?
You know, I'm grateful for the different seasons we have as much as we have in California. You know, because you get tired sometimes. Sometimes it gets too hot for too long and you want it to be cold and vice versa. So I like the cold weather.
All right. I'm grateful that the pool was heated today. Oh. When I went in a couple days ago, it was not. And I thought, polar bear, I'm not. So I went back into the gym and did more on the elliptical instead of doing my laps. But this morning I got to do the laps as I continue this Love My Body 2.0 weight loss of 33 pounds. So that's actually a second gratitude. Go ahead. You do too.
You're just losing that weight, aren't you?
I am. I'm releasing.
Yeah.
Dead weight.
I am grateful for the holiday seasons.
I'm grateful that my daughter got to come down to spend some time. Well, she came down for her best friend's birthday, but I get to spend time with her.
Oh. I am grateful for, I would say, the warm blankets on a cold night. A good one.
And a very good one. Very good one. My last gratitude is that I just love my life.
There you go.
I'm grateful. I'm grateful that I love my life.
And then I'm grateful for relationships. And that's something we're going to talk about today, right?
Yes, it is. Yes, it is. All right. That's the top of the bun. Bottom of the bun. What do you appreciate about yourself, Sam?
I appreciate that I'm very easygoing. I can get along with most people. 88%.
I was just going to say, I appreciate that I can ask for what I want and need without, losing sleep over it. I
Okay.
used to like stay up all night and write out, what I'm going to say, and try to figure out a way to get people to understand where I'm coming from. And I realized that they may not, but it's important for me to just say how things impact me, and that way I'm through it and I can let it go.
That's pretty good. I'm grateful that I'm very ambitious and I always want to learn.
I appreciate that I love new things. The thrill of trying something for the first time. I appreciate that I have that. The no fear part of my middle name.
Okay, I might have to piggyback on that because that was going to be my next appreciation. That
Sure.
go.
I'm just kidding. Awesome. It was that. I think that's it. So thank you for having breakfast with Sam and I this morning on this Thursday morning. How many days till Christmas? And knowing that if you take this challenge and and have gratitude start the day, your appreciations before you go to bed, then you will have a day sandwiched with the best possible start and finish so you can have a magnificent life. And I do challenge you to do 30 days of that money back guarantee. If you do not feel better in 30 days from doing this as part of your Blisscipline, I'll offer you a free coaching session to see what's going on. How's that? And that's a couple $100 value. So there's my new throw it out there to challenge you to have 88% happy life. Okay.
Hey, Dr. Marissa, before we start,
Yes. Yes.
Is that 21-day challenge?
Thank you for reminding me. Did you notice I said if you haven't, and then I switched because I was in that mode of 21-day fast from complaining. So Amy, I asked how she's doing on that. She was a new joiner this round, and several other people that I don't have their names in front of me, but 21 days between Thanksgiving and Christmas. I asked you to register drmarissa.life. It's still not too late. It's not consecutive days like normal rounds of this fast that's been going on since 2011. Every single day that you are able to not complain out of your mouth, then that counts as a day. And I know there are some people who are still, on track. They may have messed up a couple of days, but they're still on track to get 21 days. If you do that, I give you $42, doubling your registration that goes towards my nonprofit, 8 Ways to Happiness. So how have you been doing?
Pretty horrible. But see, I didn't know it was 21 days accumulative, not consistent. And I think it was like the third day, and I was like, Mom, I lost the 21-day fast. But now that you say it doesn't have to be consistent, I don't know. I got to add up my days. So
yeah.
I try not to complain in general. So,
well, it's a habit. Complaining is a habit. And when people, same like worrying is a habit. People go, oh, I'm a worrywart. I've worried all my life. That's just the way I am. That's bullshit-talky. It's a habit. It is a way that you have coped with what's happening around you. So if you can start a habit, you can change a habit. Research says that it takes you 21 days or 30 days, depending on, which statistics that you follow, because 42.7% of statistics are made up on the spot. And I know that I can choose to change my habits. So the fact that you are actually watching your mouth and how, noticing how often you're complaining is a good thing. That is the first step. And it gets easier and easier and easier. I promise. So is your mom doing it too?
Yeah, but I think she's
sidelined too.
Yeah.
So, okay. So I'm going to do this for everybody, and I'll have to remind me to write it up. I'm going to extend. So it was Thanksgiving Day to Christmas Day. I'm going to extend it to give you more time until New Year's Day. So if you can put together 21 days before New Year's Day, you still get double your money back. How's that?
I like it.
You like it. All right. So I am, this is, if you've just tuned in, Dr. Marissa and
Sam Works
on Straight Talk with us. And this is Take My Advice, I'm Not Using It. Get Balanced with Dr. Marissa, the morning show on KCAA. Tune in if you're in your car, AM 1050, FM 106.5. But if you're very visual, then go to my YouTube channel and free subscribe. You'll get an alert every weekday morning for this show. Today, we're talking about the phenomena of older women, younger men, and older men, younger women. And I would have to say, although I love doing research while we're talking, when did this really start? So for me, the phenomena of older men, younger women happened way before the first visible or celebrated instance for me was Ashton Kutcher and Demi Moore. That was my first time on the radar going, oh, older woman, younger man. The whole term cougar came literally into the forefront, but older men, younger women, and older men trading in their faithful help build your business, naturally aging and kicked to the curb to have a younger version of the original. That has, I thought, been around super long time. So I'm going to go look at the research on that right now while you react to that.
Okay. Well, I think nowadays everything is built on like status, unfortunately. So I think one of the big reasons why older men kick out their faithful spouses to get a younger woman is for status, having like a trophy wife, someone who's more younger, more beautiful, more attainable in the eyes of like everyone else. And I think it's pretty tragic because even if your girl's faithful, they still want something more or something better. And it turns out that, girls these days, they use the power of beauty against men to get what they want in some regards. And they tend to be a little more, can't say the word like on the air, but a little more mean, you know what I mean? And a little less ladylike, I would say, and guys will work with that and accept that and think that it's one who's faithful,
Interesting. Do you have other stuff open? You're skipping on my end. I just want to make sure it's not your end. But okay, so you're disparaging the younger woman right there for like that song Gold Digger.
Yeah.
Yes. Is that what you're talking about? Just to make sure we're on the same page. So I pulled this up. I just put in how long has the phenomena of older women. I'm sorry, the other way. Let's see. Here we go. And the first one is pretty funny. It says, do you see it? Older men's fixation with younger women really boils my kidneys. That's from the Irish Times. Let's go to age disparity in sexual relationships. Wikipedia, including defining have developed over time and societies. I'm trying to figure out when that started. Was my original question. This is interesting. Statistics: age difference in heterosexual married couples. Husband is 20 years older than wife. Is 1%. Highest is husband and wife within 1 and 2 years, 33.9. Do you see that?
Yeah.
And then wife 20 years older than husband, 0.4. So much less, right? That's what we were saying. Data in Australia and United Kingdom show almost an identical pattern. Reasons for age disparity. I'm sure yours is one of this. Either focus on a rational choice model or the analysis of demographic trends. Interesting. Let's see. It says this factor is diminishing as more women enter the workforce. The sex ratio, the marriage squeeze, that's a new term, refers to an imbalance between the number of men and women available to marry in a certain society. Did you know that? I didn't know that.
No, I did not.
Yeah, that's interesting. Brown's study noted that the social structure of a country determines the age difference between spouses more than any other factor. So it doesn't have gold digger on there. So it's unless the gold digger is a cultural oh my God, there they go. Although the cougar trend,
There you go.
I hate that term, in which the older women date much younger men, is often portrayed in the media as widespread and established in modern culture. At least one academic study found the concept to be a myth. A British psychological study concluded that men and women in general continue to follow traditional gender roles when searching for mates. Interesting. But because it's really it is in the public eye. Let's see. The study found that as supported. Oh, you'll like this one because you say this all the time. The study found that as supported by other academic studies, most men prefer younger, attractive women, while most women of any age preferred successful, established men in their own age bracket or older. This study found very few instances of older women pursuing much younger men and vice versa. The study has been criticized for limiting the results to online dating profiles, which are traditionally not used by those seeking older or younger partners, and for excluding the US from the study. That's kind of funny. Okay, male preference for younger females. Let's see. The preference around 25 years implied that fertility was a stronger ultimate cause of male preference than reproductive value, as suggested that fertility peaks in females around mid-20s. So there's a lot of stuff here that we don't have time to go into, but
Right.
I thought that was interesting, right?
Yeah, and you know what I also find interesting? My theory why younger women go for older men, kind of like what Wikipedia was saying, is like these older men are already established, right? And although girls are trying to embrace themselves more into society now, saying they can be more independent, they still want someone to take care of them, someone to, spend their money instead of their own and things like that. So it's like, a woman's not going to date someone who's broke. And if they do, it's not going to be for long, right? And when it comes to older men, like they should be more established. They should have more money. They should have everything lined up in order to provide for the woman. But then in today's society, women are trying to become more independent, right? At least that's what I've been hearing. And honestly, guys don't like that. Guys don't like women who are becoming more independent, because where do we have the upper hand? You know, it's like, okay, you have your own money, you have your own job, you can do this, you can do that. Then what are we for? You know? And then it all just like reverts back to just status and beauty, I guess, you know? And that's just
You just you
so
just open a giant can of worms. So we got hearts and thumbs up. I'm not quite sure to which comments that you were saying. Okay, so let's go back here for a second, and I need to do a disclaimer. So what Sam's talking about are his own generalizations about men and women that he has experienced. So let's be clear about that. Let's put that moose on the table, because I know a couple things you said. My feminist listeners are like, so let's easy. I'm gonna scrape a couple of people off the ceiling right now. So so let's look at some of the BS right now. Literally, belief systems that just came out of Sam's mouth that that are not necessarily incorrect. And I will say that in the tradition, and Sam, for those of you who are listening for the first time, he is a little unique. He does not hold some of the what you attribute to younger people's BS belief systems. He's very much into chivalry. He's very much into respect. He's very much into communication. He's very much not into player. He's very much not into dogging around. That's a very old term, but I appreciate that about you, right? And I've been very clear about that. And there is a large number, my daughters included, who will say that everything that you now are saying is old news, is an old way of looking at the world, that it is not the man's job to take care of the woman. It is not the man's job to be the breadwinner and, have the alpha role, and it is not the woman's job to stay at home. It is not the woman's job to take care of the children. It is not the woman's job to be that sort of step behind, and therefore for the man to be threatened by any woman who may be making more or have a status more or be better in society is way antiquated way of looking at things. So that's balancing out what Sam just said. At the same time, I do agree that it is difficult, and I had firsthand experience at this, to make a marriage work where the woman is, the disparity between income, the disparity between education, the disparity between power, the status. I'm not saying that it can't work, but it's a whole new ball of wax, can of worms, or a whole. You have to really be able to be secure as a man to be with a woman who is more all of those things. And at the same time, it was tough for me to say, oh, my husband, at the time it was husband, is a stay-at-home dad. That term was kind of new. And for me to respect him, in that role, or, I have to be honest, I was in MSU University. I would introduce him as someone way bigger than he was, because I was inside a little embarrassed that he was not as, successful or powerful or had status as people assumed that I would choose as a mate.
Right.
So have I sufficiently talked people off of the ceiling? But I mean, is this ever really going to change? Like, would you really select someone who is not your equal? I guess is the term. I used to say, I just want someone who's just like me, who has what I have, who's done what I've done, and who wants what I want. Right? Doesn't seem like I'm asking for too much, but it is. The more that you achieve, the more that you experiences that you have, it does put you in a completely different category.
It does. And the thing is, it's like with men in general, like, we have some, like, men do some really hard jobs,
How hard?
Thing
Uh-oh.
is,
We lost you. That was, did I shock you with that one?
but like the thing is, like, guys, they do these jobs that they don't necessarily love, but they do in order to provide not for themselves, but provide for their spouse, So it's not like we do all these hardworking jobs for us. We're doing it for you guys. And it's like, in order for us to do this, like, all we want is like respect and love and like have those moments. But when women are at the same hierarchy of like getting paid or like the same like level as us, then like what we're doing is almost not worth it, right? And like it's tough for guys. Like, okay, so girls, like what you were talking about earlier on previous episodes, like some girls get offended when you open the door for them, right? And it's like, okay, so there's opposites. There's nice, and then there's people who are mean or aggressive or whatever. Like, how is a man supposed to show they appreciate a woman if the girls don't want their doors open for them, or if the girls don't want them for the guys to pay for the food, or things like that? Like, where do we step in to show how much we like care or appreciate a woman if they have everything that they have on their own, if they're independent? You know what I mean? And I think that's where it's crazy.
So I do empathize with men in this generation, or men in general, who are a little confused, as you're saying, on that level. Like, how do okay, you don't want your door opened. You don't want to be, you want to pay for yourself. You want to show that you are self-sufficient. You don't need any help. You don't need any coddling. You don't need me to open the pickle jar because you're just as strong, and all of that. I think, though, that I don't believe that is the predominant thinking for most women. I think that there is a subset, hard feminism, hard, no pun intended, very strong faction that does believe in don't minimize me at all. And I can understand that too, but I think that's the pendulum swinging this way. In the old days, all your job is to please your man, meet him at the door with a martini. They were actually commercials like that. That was the role of women. And then we went all the way to the other side, which is, I am woman, I'm strong, I can do whatever I want, I don't need a man, don't want a man, That's the extreme. The balance is what we're working with. And I know, at least for my generation, that is, I'm ageless, but I know that a lot of women are kind of caught in that swing where, I'll speak for myself. When a man, when the check comes and I say, let me help with that, and they say, oh no, I have this. That to me is showing me respect and honor, and that he likes me, and that he is taking some control, and also treating me like a woman of value, that he wants to show me how valuable I am. And I like that. And when a man says, sure, you can help with half, right? Or even I'll take care of it this time, you can take care of it that time, next time, even if it's logical and it is the sign of the times. For me, I'm like, I'm not going out with them again. And it's like, then I get accused of, you want to have your cake and eat it too. And my response is absolutely. I want all of it. I still, if someone sends me flowers, OMG. I broke up with a guy because he refused to send me flowers on Valentine's. And that was the end of a really good relationship up to that point. But I was also, when he would say, well, I'm flying down to see you, that's how I'm showing you that I care about you. And it's like, well, no, that's a given. You're supposed to be doing that. Like, I mean, that's not a bonus thing. And then same thing. You're supposed, when a guy says to me, when are you going to cook for me? Like, we've gone out, for dinner, I'm treating, it's your time to cook. And if a guy actually says that, I'm like, oh, wow, that's it. But to be fair, isn't that a reasonable expectation, for a guy to have to, I've been forking out so much money on going out. It's now your turn to show me that I'm of value by cooking for me. So now why I don't have a relationship is because this push pull, alpha, not alpha, it's not easy. It's very challenging because I do want a stronger man. I do want an alpha man. But then as soon as he's alpha with me, I'm like, woo! I don't need that. So I'm going to speak on behalf of the women who are in my boat, using that analogy, not the Titanic, but in that boat of, you've been in your boat for a while, you know where you're going, you have seen a lot of things, you're very self-sufficient. And at the same time, you want a man who does want to take charge, but not too much charge.
Yeah. And I mean, there is a balance to that, right? But if let's go opposite. So you're dating someone who's soft, right? And he's like
dating what? He's soft? I would never date a man who's soft. No, I'm kidding.
Well, there's like complications because let's say you don't have that push and pull, right? So you guys go nowhere. It's like, hey, what do you want to eat? And then you're like, oh, it's up to you, like whatever you want. But then he's not the pusher, so he's like, oh, well, it's what do you like? You know what I mean? And then you guys literally go nowhere in life. And then when it comes to stepping your foot down and being dominant when you have to be, especially out in public, like let's say some guys like hitting on you, you feel uncomfortable, or like some guys like touching on you, you want a dominant man to be like, hey, like that's, like don't touch her, da da da, So it's like you can't pick and choose because one side has things that you like, but then of course there's gonna be things that you don't like, right? That comes with it. But like with guys, again, guys don't get these nice cars. Well, some of them do for themselves, but they're not getting these nice cars for themselves. They're trying to attract the women they want, And then girls, I feel like maybe they're drawn to that, or they're trying to show dominance in money and like muscles and all this stuff, but sometimes that doesn't work because like girls are smart. I'm not gonna lie.
Well, that joke, you see a guy with a Corvette, it automatically means that ... right? Have you heard that?
He's compensating for something, right?
Correct. That is correct. That, and especially if there's loud exhaust coming out and, speed it. Yeah. So is that true?
I don't have a Corvette, but they also say guys with big trucks have, small, whatever, you know what I mean?
Yes.
So
Yes.
There's no winning to a guy. I honestly, but I will tell you something though. This one of my friend's moms, she was being very open. And this guy, he has a bunch of cars and he has money. And she told us that he was compensating. And I was like, no kidding. And my friend was like, I'm broke. I was like,
Wow. Is it the size is it the size of the boat or the motion in the ocean?
look,
There's an
no,
old one.
no matter what you have, if you don't know what you're doing, it's
E-
not gonna focus.
Exactly. Exactly. I like both the size of the boat and the motion in the ocean, just in case.
Yeah, there has to be balance, right?
It's all about balance. It is all about wanting everything too. But okay, so let's talk about the practical aspects of having a relationship where there is a disparity both ways. And I'll start. Dating, I've been very straight but literally about not liking to be called cougar. There's no part of that is attractive to me. I don't ever want to be walking in a room with a good looking younger man and immediately I can hear it, in the room. Oh, he's with her for her money, for her status, for her power. She's with him because, he's hot and she's just satisfying her physical needs. But, there's it's never going to work. Right. So all these things that I think I may be in MSU University making shiitake up when this is going on, but that's what I think is going on, and none of it's positive. So for me, that doesn't work for me. At the same time, do I purposefully, when I don't have a date for something, go through my Rolodex to find a good-looking younger guy to be on my arm as eye candy? Absolutely. I've done that, and I will continue to do that because it's for me. It's fun. Okay, it's just fun to do that. It may not be politically correct, but showing up to a red carpet without anyone to me is asking for even more speculation. So I'd rather have that than that. But I dated a guy, I can remember after the divorce, and I was making up for lost time, man. So because I had very little intimacy and very little affection. So I went out with a 33-year-old and then a 29-year-old. And then this 26-year-old had been asking me out for a long time. And I kept saying, oh no, you're too young, you're too young, you're too young. But as the level kept coming down, I thought, what the heck, I'll just go out with him because he's so persistent. And he actually, was professional and blah, 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 successful. So I went out with him. We went out for dinner and he says, I've always been attracted to older women, which to me is not a compliment, right? Because I don't want to be called old. I am #ageless. So immediately I went, oh. And so then I tried to make a joke out of it. And I said, so what does it feel like dating Mrs. Robinson? Now, I don't even know if you know who Mrs. Robinson is, but there's a very popular film, especially in our generation or the generation before, called The Graduate, Dustin Hoffman. And it was very much so the older woman breaks in a younger man, Dustin Hoffman. Okay. So I said, so what does it feel like dating Mrs. Robinson? And he said, who's Mrs. Robinson? And I said, oh, I dipped way too low, because if you can't, and this is the reality, if you're going to date a man or a young man who is a generation younger or 2 generations younger, the reality is your common references of life are going to be so different that it's tough. And I never realized how much I enjoyed having people identify with the movies that I liked, or the things that happened during my lifetime. Oh, do you remember the landing on the moon? No, I wasn't born yet. Who like that complete miss. Now, how important is that? Well, I don't know. For me, I think it is significantly important, so that dating a younger man for more than just eye candy is just not my cup of tea.
Like, maybe you guys can get along better if you guys had the same references and stuff. However, imagine being able to show him everything that you lived through, like, hey, let's watch this. Like, oh my gosh, this is my favorite movie. Let's watch this together. Like, you get to relive the past, in their time. And it's like, that's fun and exciting, because like, if you already like seeing the same stuff or like, yeah, you guys can bring it up. You're like, oh, remember that time? But imagine how much more fun it'll be. Like, oh my gosh, you have to see this. I love this when I was a kid, or this used to be like the best movie when I was younger, like, and then you build a relationship even more because you're building it rather than having it already built. You know what I mean?
Okay, I will entertain that. And I'll also give a nice thank you to Baptiste Jean Niubizi. He says, beautiful topic. Thanks for bringing Sam. Following up, good season of Christmas time with your family and friends. And he's actually writing this from Africa. Wow. So he is, he's a great supporter, and he is a friend of a past guest. I think I told you about Frederick from Rwanda. He was in the Rwandan genocide, and he got his hands cut off by the terrorists, and he's brilliant. If you missed that show, I have it in my YouTube channel. Just look up Dr. Marissa and Frederick, and amazing. But anyways, Baptiste is from that group. So thank you for that comment. And then we have another, Ferran Dozier. Do you know that? So Ferran was my guest. We're doing a project right now with an amazing man that he brought to my studio earlier this week, Caldwell Williams, who is 88 and doing amazing work around valuing diversity, ending racism. So I'm going back and putting my filmmaker hat on. We're putting together a series. So that's kind of cool. Good morning, Ferran. So we're talking about older women, younger men, younger women, older men, and the realities of that dating situation right now. If you've just tuned in, it is Take My Advice, I'm Not Using It, Get Balanced with Dr. Marissa, the morning show here on NBC News Radio, KCAA, AM 1050, FM 106.5, and streaming everywhere, including my YouTube channel, where you can also get my red carpet playlist with interviews with Halle Berry, John Travolta, etc. We are also encouraging you to always tune in on Thursdays. This is Straight Talk with Dr. Marissa and
Sam Works.
And we talk just about everything when it comes to relationships, romance, flirting, different labels. We've had some great shows, and thank you so much. Lots of eyeballs rolling in again. Thanks for giving us the finger. I mean, a thumbs up. I see those as well as the hearts. So, okay. Now, if you have any questions for us, please put them in the chat or comments of your own. So for me, go ahead. Would you date an older woman that is 20 some years older than you?
Okay, see, my background story. I dated someone who was 11 years older than I was, and the relationship was more than I expected. I really enjoyed it. It was very mature, you know what I mean? And like, she helped me grow up and helped me like respect myself and become more of a man and things like, and she was like Mexican, right? So there's like Mexican cultures that she incorporated in my lifestyle now that I do when I'm with other women. And like girls are like impressed by that. So I learned a lot dating older
Like
women.
what? Like what?
Well, for her, she likes it when I order for her, like when we go out to eat and stuff. Like she likes it when I know what she likes, so what she likes to drink, what she wants to eat. Like she doesn't say anything. I'm the one talking to the server. Like, you talk to me because I'm the one wearing the pants in relationship, right? So I should be the one speaking, things like that. And it was great, but like you and everyone else, in the back of her head, like she felt like a baby cradler, like she's like, I don't know why I keep, feeling this type of way, da 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 da, like people judge me. And I mean, going on a date with someone younger or someone older or vice versa, like that's fine. But when it's like a more serious relationship, then people start to question, right? If it's just like, hey, this is my date for the night, that's all fine and dandy. But then when it's like, oh, we've been dating for like 6 months to a year, it's getting kind of serious, then it's like, okay, how did this come about? Like, what are you guys thinking? You know what I mean? But like my biggest thing was if I'm dating someone or like seriously dating someone that's like 20 years older than I am, then I would have to put in consideration what my vision is in my future life to what it's now going to transform to be. Because, I want a kid, but someone who's 20 years older, they probably won't be able to provide for that. Although we may be able to adopt, but that's not the same than seeing like a little Sam running around the house. You know what I mean? And it's like giving up my life for a life with them is a huge sacrifice, and that's something that you got to take into consideration, right? But at the same time, the learning experience, the maturity in it, like it's all there. Everything's there except for what you visioned yourself in the future. You know what I mean? And
Mm-hmm.
life takes tolls, and not everything is lined up the way you think it would be. But then you still try to stick to the plan, right? So that's kind of like.
Okay. I know that, okay, go back a couple of comments when you were saying, wouldn't it be great to teach someone and share with them things that you've gone through or movies that you liked and all of that? Yes, to a point, because that's saying I want to have a child, not marry one. I mean, the last thing I want to do, I don't feel that so much in age, but I definitely feel that when it comes to emotional maturity. So if I meet a guy, no matter how old they are, when they on the first date start talking about their their horrible past, or things that are still like haunting them, or any guy who starts with opening with bashing their last relationship or their marriage, I'm out, because that's what I do for my professional work. I don't want to come home and also be your coach. Like, that is just not what I sign up for. So
Right.
I just wanted to respond to that. Okay. Farhan says, my perspective is check the person's ways, their behavior and attitudes, not just their works. Haha, Sam works. He made a joke. Things they can do for you or offer you. So, okay. So the whole person, right? It's not just what they can do or say, but what they bring to the table. I think that's what he's saying. So I agree with that. But at the same time, Farhan, I'm going to put the moose on the table. It's very difficult to, and me, I'm totally, what you think of me is none of my business. What you think of me is none of my business. I don't care. I don't give a flying fruit through a rolling donut how you perceive what I'm doing with my life. This is my life. And if you don't like it, look the other way. At the same time, cougar bothers me. Now, it shouldn't bother me if I don't care what people are thinking, right? but it still does. So this is like the weirdest thing. Of all the people, I'm pretty strong in who I am, but it still just will eat at me, like your ex-girlfriend who was older. You weren't doing it, but it was her own internalization of that.
But there's an influence on that, and that's society itself. Like, imagine if you were with a younger dude on an island by your guys' self. That would not be a problem, right? But society plays a role, and they start to put things in your head and influence you in a certain way, in a certain direction. Whether you like it or not, subconsciously, it's like, okay, judgment is what makes character, right? So when you're out in public and everyone's giving you that look, and you don't even realize it, but you feel the energy, Now imagine if no one was there. You guys would just enjoy your time, right?
But even if I was on a desert island with a man 20 years my junior, there would be things that he would say and do or not do that reflect who he is in a less experienced mode. That's the reality. And so that comment about, who's Mrs. Robinson, that would be, concerning to me, because there is, I value a man who has had ambition, experience, and a track record of success. That a man 20 years younger, it's not even fair to judge him for that, because he hasn't lived those 20 years where he can put that together. So, and so then I have to ask myself, well, how important is that? Right? So if you're a woman where that isn't that important, and it's more important for him to look good on your arm, or to be the one who stays at home with the kids so that you can go out and be the kick ash power broker that you are, then okay. But it still has that stigma around it, that no matter how you slice it and dice it, you sort of feel that.
It is rare to find someone younger who knows older saying stuff like that. But if you look at, like, for me, for example, like, my favorite type of music, one of the reasons why I got the job here was because my favorite music is like 50s, 60s, and 70s, right? And I can relate to Mark about that because that's what he likes. And even though we're not the same age, I still have the same taste of like music, And there's some people out there that find older like 80s, 90s TV shows funnier than they are now, because now we're censored. We have to be more careful what we say, and it's not as fun,
Yeah.
So there are people there, but it's very rare.
And guess what? We have 2 minutes left. Can you believe it? Every time we run out of time. Peace in, peace out to all the fabulous people on Instagram who are tuning in. Thank you so much for the very enlightening conversation this morning, Sam. It's always fun to play with you on the air. I'm glad that we had quite a few people playing. And even Farhan, who and Baptiste for, let's see, singleness is oneness equals experience being whole and complete first. And that could allow us to have that discussion in person. Okay, way too much to unpack in 30 seconds, but thank you for participating. This is Dr. Marissa and
Sam Works
on Straight Talk. And we're just knowing that you'll be here again. I think, obviously, we're going to have to continue this next week, along with fascinating topics. If you have something that you'd like us to address, please do message us. We're very active on social. Doc Balance for me on Instagram, Dr. Marissa everywhere else, Sam Works. Also, make sure you tune in. We're doing a holiday sing-along with my guest, repeat guest, Mijan. We rehearsed last night. But in the meantime, go and we didn't do peace in. Did we do it? Yes. It's all about balance. Peace in, peace out, world. Peace through, inner peace. Now go and have the best day ever. See you tomorrow.